Good morning. I would like to call this meeting of the House Children and Youth Committee to order. Just a reminder to please make your cell phones or silence your cell phones as this meeting is being broadcast and recorded. I ask that members also use the microphone when speaking and make sure that the green light is on as well. Today we will be voting on Representative Sappy's House Bill 2175 and my bill, House Bill 1879. To get started, I would like to ask Brooke to please take the roll.
Chair Bullock,
Present.
Representatives Bellman, Boyd,
Designation.
Serrato,
Here.
Curry,
Designation.
Fleming,
Here.
Genst, Haimbidge,
Designation.
Howard, Kazim,
Designation.
Krajewski, McAndrew,
Designation.
Nelson,
Designation.
Powell, Chair Jazwiak,
Designation.
Representatives Fink,
Designation.
Flick, Hogan, Grum-Krupa,
Here.
McKenzie, Allsummer,
Designation.
Rossi, Schlegel,
Here.
Watro,
Designation.
Zimmerman.
Leave.
You have a quorum.
Brooke, we have a designation for Rep. Hogan. Thank you. Our first bill for consideration today is House Bill 2175. Is there a motion to consider House Bill 2175, moved by Representative Serrato, seconded by Representative Krajewski? Danielle, please provide a summary of the bill.
Thank you. Good morning. House Bill 2175, sponsored by Representative Sappy, amends Act 21 of 1967, or the Human Services Code, by adding language establishing the Office of the Child Advocate and establishing penalties. The following stakeholders support this legislation: the administration, the Department of Human Services, a coalition of stakeholders including Children's First, Support Center for Child Advocates, Kids Voice, the Network of Victim Assistance, the Defenders Association of Philadelphia, the Pennsylvania Children's Advocacy Centers, the Education Law Center, the Pennsylvania chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Center for Children's Justice, the Juvenile Law Center, the Pennsylvania Coalition to Advance Respect, and Field Center for Children's Policy, Practice, and Research. The following third-party interest group is opposed to this legislation: the Pennsylvania Council of Children, Youth, and Family Services.
Thank you, Danielle. Representative Sappy is with us today, the prime sponsor of House Bill 2175. Rep. Sappy, would you like to join us for brief remarks? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I'm so proud to be here today to speak to you on this important legislation. House Bill 2175 is the product of years of collaboration by numerous legislators and child welfare advocates, some of whom are here today. The Office of Child Advocate is not currently permanent. It exists by executive decree and could be dismantled at any time by a future governor. This bill makes permanent the Office of Child Advocate and defines the role and scope of authority of the Child Advocate. The number of children in our state that are subject to horrific abuse and neglect deserve to have someone in their government that is dedicated to education and prevention of abuse. They deserve to have someone who can work on their behalf to uncover abuse and to ensure that those that commit these heinous acts are adjudicated. The victims of child abuse deserve intervention and treatment, and they deserve to have someone in their corner making sure their education continues with accommodations as they may need them. Again, I'm very grateful to everyone who has worked on this legislation. We have worked very hard to make sure we get this right for our most precious citizens, our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Sappy, for your tireless work on this bill. I know that we've worked with a number of stakeholders following our recent public hearing or information hearing on the Office of the Child Advocate. I know that you care about the children of Pennsylvania and that this effort is just one example in a way that we can protect them and be there for them and make sure that they have an advocate within state government. I will be offering Amendment A0 4859. Danielle, can you please explain the amendment?
Yes, Amendment A04859, sponsored by Chair Bullock, adds clarifying language related to the role and responsibilities of the child advocate.
Thank you, Danielle. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Representative Krupa.
Thank you, Chairwoman Bullock. It's our understanding that this amendment was drafted without input from several key stakeholders, including those that work within the existing children and youth system. While some provisions of this amendment are improvements to the underlying bill, concerns still remain. I'll be a no vote for this reason.
Thank you, Chair Krupa. I will confirm that we have worked with the administration and several stakeholders that are involved in this particular bill and the amendment. They have all came to the table. There were several meetings in which stakeholders were invited to attend and to work with the administration to ensure that the amendment met those concerns. Is there a motion to adopt the amendment moved by Representative Bellman, seconded by Representative Fleming? Is there any other discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, Brooke, please take the roll call.
Chair Bullock,
Yes.
Representatives Bellman. Yes. Boyd,
Designation yes.
Serrato,
Yes.
Curry,
Designation yes.
Fleming. Yes. Genst. Yes. Hambidge,
Designation yes.
Howard. Kazim,
Designation yes.
Krajewski, McAndrew,
Aye.
Nelson,
Designation yes.
Powell, Chair Joswiak,
Designation no.
Representatives Fink,
Designation no.
Flick, Grim Krupa,
No.
Hogan, yeah, it says yes.
Designation yes.
Mackenzie, Allsummer,
Designation no.
Rossi, Schlegel, Watro,
Designation no.
Zimmerman.
Leave.
The amendment passes. Is there any further discussion on the legislation as amended? Chair?
Actually, Representative Malou McKenzie has comments.
Representative McKenzie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Over the past few weeks, I've been weighing how to approach this bill, and I've been reviewing the issue and listening to the advocates, and I wanted to just note some questions that I had. One thing that is giving me some pause is the fact that we already have the position of child advocate in the Commonwealth. It was established by executive order within the Office of Advocacy and Reform, which is within the governor's office. We know that. And I do have some questions, though, including questions about a group called HEAL PA. HEAL PA has been advocating for this legislation. This group appears to be a nonprofit or corporation, and they describe themselves as a multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary coalition developed and sponsored by the Pennsylvania Governor's Office of Advocacy and Reform. I'm not quite sure what developed and sponsored by a governmental body means, and I would assume that there's nothing really wrong with this arrangement, but I just do have some questions that I plan to submit to the governor about how this entity operates within the context of the overall executive branch. So for now, I will be voting no, and I will look forward to this debate continuing. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Chair Grim Krupa?
Thank you, Chairwoman Bullock. I appreciate the spirit of this legislation. However, I'm concerned that the bill as written is duplicative of existing work being done. The PA Council of Children, Youth, and Family Services, PA Children and Youth Administrators, and PA Family Support Alliance have previously expressed that this bill would be a duplicative use of resources considering the existing entities that already manage many of the responsibilities outlined in this bill. In March of this year, these same stakeholders sent a letter expressing their concerns and recommending that the legislature pursue other avenues of improving collaboration between state agencies and departments. Duplication of efforts and the addition of unnecessary oversight would only serve to overburden an already struggling system, overburden it with more bureaucracy. I will be a no vote, but will continue to monitor the language as it moves through the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to thank the prime sponsor for her diligence and her advocacy on this issue. As we know, the safety of our children is important here in the Commonwealth. And when they are in the care of the Commonwealth, we have an obligation and a responsibility to make sure that that care is provided with the utmost care, dignity, and respect for those young people, and professionalism. We have an obligation to make sure that those agencies have oversight. And when we look at a number of instances in the past in which our young people were housed in facilities in which were either funded or supervised or in other ways monitored by the state, we need to think about some of those situations in which our children were at risk. We have an obligation to the most vulnerable among us. There are similar positions in our Commonwealth in which we provide independent, ombudsman-like oversight for the protection of those who cannot speak for themselves. We do this for the elderly. We do this for consumers. We do this for small businesses. Why not do it for our children? It's important that they have a voice here in the Commonwealth that speaks for them, that raises the flag when agencies are not doing right by them, when agencies are not meeting the standards that we would want for our own children. We have an obligation to make sure they have that voice. The Office of the Child Advocate, formed initially by executive order, through this legislation will become permanent. And I think that is what our children deserve and what we should be making sure they have. We have that responsibility, and I encourage a yes vote. Brooke, please take the roll call.
Chair Bullock,
Yes.
Representatives Bellman,
Yes.
Boyd,
Designation yes.
Serrato,
Yes.
Curry,
Designation yes.
Fleming, Genst, Hambidge,
Designation yes.
Howard, Kazim,
Designation yes.
Krajewski, McAndrew,
Aye.
Nelson,
Designation yes.
Powell, Chair Joswiak,
Designation no.
Representatives Fink, Flick, Grim-Krupa,
No.
Hogan,
Designation yes.
McKenzie,
No.
Olsummer,
Designation no.
Rossi, Schlegel, Watro,
Designation no.
Zimmerman.
Leave.
The bill passes 15-9. House Bill 2175, as amended, is reported as committed from the House Children and Youth Committee. Our second bill for consideration today is House Bill 1879. Is there a motion to consider House Bill 1879, moved by Representative Powell, seconded by Representative Genst? Danielle, please provide a summary of the bill.
House Bill 1879, sponsored by Chair Bullock, establishes the Online Safety Protection Act, which ensures that online products and services that are likely to be accessed by a child are designed and developed to be age appropriate and with the consideration of the best interest of the child. The following third-party interest groups support this legislation: Google and the Pennsylvania chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics. The following third-party interest group is neutral on this legislation: the Pennsylvania Council of Children, Youth, and Family Services. And the following third-party interest groups oppose this legislation: the Computer and Communication Industry Association, TechNet, the Chamber of Progress, and NetChoice.
Thank you, Danielle. After our informational hearing earlier this session, I listened to the stakeholders and understood that we needed some additional definitions, some clarity in this legislation. I also understood that while we are working to improve our children's experience online, there are many competing interests, and there's a lot of work to be done to ensure their safety. In response to our hearing, I am offering Amendment A04902. Danielle, please explain the amendment.
Amendment A04902, sponsored by Chair Bullock, clarifies, updates definitions for the best interests of the child, adds definitions of process, publicly available information, sale of personal data, and third party, and it also extends the it extends the implementation deadline to December 31st, 2025.
Thank you, Danielle. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Chair Grim-Krupa.
Thank you, Chairwoman Bullock. This amendment fails to address the chief concerns presented by key stakeholders, particularly including the Office of Attorney General, which is going to be tasked with the enforcement of its provisions. I don't believe this amendment addresses the concerns, and therefore I will be voting no.
Thank you, Chair. Any additional comments on the amendment? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt the amendment moved by Representative Gentz, seconded by Representative Serrato? Brooke, please take a vote on the amendment.
Chair Bullock,
Yes.
Representatives Bellman. Yes. Boyd,
Designation yes.
Serrato,
Yes.
Curry,
Designation yes.
Fleming. Yes. Genst. Yes. Haimbidge,
Designation yes.
Howard. Kazim,
Designation yes.
Krajewski. McAndrew,
Aye.
Nelson,
Designation yes.
Powell. Chair Joswiak,
Designation no.
Representatives Fink. Flick. Grim-Krupa,
No.
Hogan,
Designation yes.
McKenzie. Olsummer,
Designation no.
Rossi. Schlegel. Watro,
Designation no.
Zimmerman.
Leave.
Thank you. The amendment is adopted 15-9, House Bill 1879 as amended. Is there any further discussion on the bill? Representative Grim-Krupa.
Thank you, Chairwoman Bullock, and I want to thank you, too, for your work in this very important bill. I believe that the intent behind the legislation is good, and I want to echo Chair Joswiak's sentiments from our last voting meeting. As a mother of 3 teenage children, I know all too much the many dangers that the internet poses to children and our teenagers. I do, however, maintain concerns about this bill as drafted. TechNet, a significantly relevant stakeholder group, remains opposed to the bill. As the amendment offered today does not address their concerns, I have to object to the bill in the current form, and I'll be voting no as it moves through committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Any other comments from the committee? As the prime sponsor for this bill, and I share with our chair here, as a mother of some teen boys at home, I have some of those same concerns. But I also understand that our children and their relationship with technology is not like ours. Whether it's being used as an educational or socialization tool, and I will tell you, my kids have many conversations with their friends online, during their video games, and otherwise. This is how they communicate and socialize. Technology is a part of their lives. They use it for school, they use it for social games, activities, communicate with their friends. And studies have shown that this ever-increasing use of technology is having an adverse effect on our children's health, happiness, and prosperity. And I know that as a parent, I have an obligation and responsibility to show them how to use technology safely, to make sure that they understand when to take a break, when to remove themselves from that space, when to share or not share private information, when to offer up credit card and not my credit card information, but also understanding how to use it responsibility. I have that obligation as a parent, but I cannot do it alone because I simply don't understand everything that is happening technology-based. What is happening behind the scenes? And our tech companies, they do have that obligation. They design these tools with their own intent, profits, whatever other interest they may have. And they have an obligation to make sure they are designing these tools with our children in mind. That is what age-appropriate digital design is all about. Making sure that they're not using these tools to take our children's information without them knowing, to use that information to market them, to sell that information to other parties without their knowledge, to invade their privacy. They have an obligation to design their digital tools in a way that does not infringe upon my child's happiness and, frankly, has the best interest of our children at heart, which is also the core mission of this committee. I'm committed to that as a parent, and I'm happy to work with our technology partners if they would come to the table. But we will find that many of those technology partners don't really want to address this because they are putting profits over the benefit of our children. We have a lot more work to do here in Pennsylvania. We've fallen behind, I would say, as other states have already moved forward with similar age-appropriate design code language in their states. This bill is a step towards our Commonwealth saying we will protect our children online and we will hold those companies accountable to the safety and well-being of our children. This bill moves us in that direction. There's so much other things we can do as we look at protecting our children and their activities online. With that, though, let's take this first step in ensuring and bringing our technology partners to the table and holding them accountable for their part in designing these online tools and resources that our children have access to and in many ways are a part of their lives. With that, I am asking for a yes vote. Can we please have a motion to consider House Bill 1879 as amended, moved by Representative Powell and seconded by Representative McAndrew? Brooke, please take the roll call.
Chair Bullock,
Yes.
Representatives Bellman, Boyd,
Designation yes.
Serrato,
Yes.
Curry,
Designation yes.
Fleming, Genst, Hambidge,
Designation yes.
Howard, Kazim,
Designation yes.
Krajewski, McAndrew,
Aye.
Nelson,
Designation yes.
Powell, Chair Joswiak,
Designation no.
Representatives Fink, Flick, Grum-Krupa,
No.
Hogan,
Designation yes.
McKenzie, Olsummer,
Designation no.
Rossi, Schlegel, Watro,
Designation no.
Zimmerman.
Leave.
The bill passes 15-9. House Bill 1879, as amended, is reported as committed from the House Children and Youth Committee. With no further business, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? Moved by Representative Fleming and seconded by Representative Powell. Thank you and have a great day. We stand adjourned.